Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talking about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, so draft is coming up. That's what we're gonna focus on pretty much until the draft starts, unless there's some news that happens and interviews or whatever. But look, I get it. The draft is kind of a crapshoot regardless. It doesn't matter who you pick or where you pick them. There's no guarantees, right? As close as it is, and I think that college football is as close to the professional counterpart as any college sport is to its professional counterpart. But still, the college game is so much different than the pro game. It's just not a natural progression where you can say, yes, this person's going to be great and this person's not going to be great. It's still a crapshoot no matter who you pick. So, with that being said, I've identified 4 potential Raiders targets that have huge boomer bust potential. But before we do, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's absolutely free. It's a great way to support this channel. And it's the bare minimum you can do to support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video, which of course, I do appreciate. All right, let's get to it. All right, like I was saying, the draft is a tricky proposition because even as close as a college game is to the NFL, it's just not the same game. And there's different motivations going into it. They're playing against different levels of competition. You got different coaching involved. You have different coaching styles. It's more of a business than like something that you do. College game is a business as well, but like it's less of a business than the pros. It's really hard to pinpoint the players that are going to be booms and the players that are going to be busts, but I tried my best. I looked at a lot of different mock drafts. I looked at the reasons for the mock drafts and where they were. These guys were kind of rated across the board. Some of the drafts have them, as early as the first, second day. Some of them have going undrafted, some of these guys even. But it's going to be 4 guys that I identified on the offensive side that the Raiders can target to help that offense, okay? And we're going to start at the top at quarterback, and surprise, surprise, it's Jalen Milroe, the quarterback from Alabama. We see it all over the place. The boomer bust potential is there huge with Jalen Milroe because he's not a traditional quarterback in the sense of he can sit back in the pocket and he can let his arm get him out of trouble. It's a little bit more difficult in the pros to do that when your arm is not your main talent. And that's what a quarterback does mainly is he throws the ball. But he's a really smart kid, and we're going to talk about that in a second, and he works really hard. The one thing about Jalen Milroe that I do like is he does have one elite trait. And when you have an elite trait, it's easier for you to be game planned with because you can do something really well that's going to be a problem for other teams. Along those lines, you can go ahead and slow play and build the things that you need to work on if you can rely on something that's really high end and elite, which Jalen Milroe does have. His speed is just otherworldly. I think he might be the fastest quarterback to ever play in the NFL. I think faster than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson never ran a 40, but 4.37 from Jalen Milroe, that's pretty freaking fast. Now, he's not quite as shifty and shaky as some of these other quarterbacks out there, but 4.37 is 4.37 no matter how you slice it. That's still tough to catch and tough to bring down. Most of the time we talk about quarterbacks that are kind of an iffy proposition, it's because their arm talent is there. And that's not the case with Jalen Milroe. He has plenty of arm talent. The issue is when he throws it not quite as deep, like intermediate and short, he's not very accurate. That can come with a lot of different things. Could be a footwork thing, could be a hand size thing, could be a technique thing. Who knows? But whatever it is, whoever drafts him has to make sure that they pinpoint what the issue is and take steps to correct it. It's not going to be an easy chore. It's not going to be an easy ride to get Jalen Milroe to be up to snuff to be a quarterback in the NFL. But the potential is there, man. Like, you take a look at some of his numbers, as opposed to some of the numbers from Lamar Jackson. And man, he had a higher completion percentage. He had, I believe, more yards per carry, more rushing touchdowns. It's like, dude, he was pretty much like a Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson just maybe threw for more touchdowns. And I really do fault the Alabama coaching staff for that. They really didn't take the time to develop Jalen Milroe as a passer more than they should have. They should have done it a lot more than they did. And they just relied mostly on his running ability and having the running ability open up lanes for him to throw. Miller's got all the hard work and leadership. He's got it in spades, okay? He won the William V. Campbell Award. That's like the academic Heisman, okay? So this dude is freaking smart. He's going to be able to get in there. He's going to be able to study. He's going to be able to learn your offense. But the offense has to learn him as well. It's not going to be as simple as just putting him in the offense and teaching him how to play quarterback. You really have to build an offense around Jalen Milroe. Now, with Geno Smith in the fold, the way it tries to the Raiders is they have very similar skill sets, but Geno Smith is an infinitely better passer than Jalen Milroe. I'm not talking about arm strength or whatever. It's about accuracy and timing and touch. Jalen Milroe has to really work on that stuff, and that's stuff that Geno Smith has right now. As far as athletic ability, Geno Smith is actually very, very athletic. He's going to show you guys that this coming season, and that's something that Chip Kelly can really mold an offense that can work for both players should Jalen Milroe have to play earlier in the season. The trick is unlocking what Milroe does best and trying to spoon feed the things that he doesn't do well so he can increase that over time. Now, I did that video on Geno Smith's contract, and Geno Smith's contract really is only a 2-year deal because it's front-loaded with a lot of guaranteed money this season and next season and no guaranteed money the third year. So those 2 seasons can be plenty for Jalen Milroe to see if he can be a starting quarterback or not in the NFL should the Raiders choose to take him. All right, next on the list is running back out of Rutgers, Kyle Monangai. This guy, he's tough, man. I watched him play live, and the dude was a tough runner, and that's really what he is. The big issue limiting Kyle Monangai is the fact that the running back class is just so deep, and unfortunately, Monangai is just really not that athletic. He's more of a bruising, battering back, and he's only like 5'8". He weighs 211 pounds, but man, 5'8", 211, and being not quite that shifty or athletic, you're going to get hit a lot. And look what happened with Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, they both went to Rutgers, so it's kind of like a kind of a lazy comparison, right? But they have very similar running styles. But Pacheco ran like a 4.3 40, so that was like his claim to fame to get into the NFL. But he was still a 7th-round pick, and we're seeing how Pacheco is getting injured more often because he's not quite that shifty, and you just can't run through everybody in the NFL. On the positive side, Monangai is a violent runner. He is a battering ram. He's really compact, 5'8", 211, like I said. But, man, that kind of bugs me, man. You got to be a little bit shifty if you're going to be that size. In his favor is forced missed tackles. He's hard to bring down. Over the past 2 seasons, he's forced 139 missed tackles. The next closest running back in the Big Ten was 91. He has like 50% more missed tackles than anybody else in the Big Ten in his own conference. And it's like, you're taking a look at the guy, you're like, man, he should get brought down a lot easier than he does, but he just doesn't. So, yeah, he got it done in college, but can he do it in the pros? That's where the boomer bust comes into play. You take a look at his rushing numbers. He had over 2,500 yards the last 2 seasons combined. That's all great and all, but I don't know, man. It's just really tough. If you're going to be that size, you have to be a little bit shifty, and you have to do more than one thing to help your team win. And he's not really a threat at all coming out of the backfield catching the ball, and he didn't really play any special teams. It's like, if you're going to draft this guy, it's going to be strictly as a runner, and that's it. He does have a lot of ability, but he's not super fast, and I don't know, man. This is why it's a boomer bust for me, because he does what he does well. He does extremely well. He's a battering ram. He's tough to bring down, and he is productive. But on the other side, it's a little bit smaller, doesn't do a lot of things. He's not very shifty. He doesn't play special teams, and he doesn't catch the ball. It's like, late round pick, if that. It's going to be really tough for Monangai to get in the NFL and really stick around for a while, I think. I could be totally wrong. He could be a Hall of Famer, but, man, of all these things that I'm seeing, it's going to be pretty tough. All right, up next is a guy that I've been looking at for a little bit of time now, and it's kind of growing on me. It's Kyle Williams, wide receiver out of Washington State. Now, 2 years ago, he had Cam Ward on his team throwing him the ball, so that's why he blew up out of nowhere. And people were like, wow, this guy's really good. But what's going to happen when he doesn't have a Heisman Trophy candidate out there throwing him the ball? Well, I'll tell you, he just got even better. Now, some of the things against Washington State and Kyle Williams this year is, the Pac-12 folded, right? There's really only 2 teams in the Pac-12 that were left to kind of keep the name alive until they got more teams into the conference. He only played 1 team that was ranked the entire season. So he wasn't really on the national spotlight. People really weren't calling his name. People weren't paying a lot of attention to Washington State this season. And for good reason. They weren't really playing anybody. But Kyle Williams is an electric wide receiver. Let me show you these stats, okay? I want to get them right, so I'm going to read them, okay? He had 70 catches, almost 1,200 yards, 1,198 yards, and 14 touchdowns. Just to put that into context, okay, out of the entire FBS, okay, all the quote-unquote Division I schools, right? Only 4 wide receivers had those stats. Nick Nash out of San Jose State, Travis Hunter out of Colorado, and Jeremiah Smith, a super everything freshman from Ohio State. Those are the 4 guys. That's it. Those 3 guys and Kyle Williams, they had those stats. 70 catches, let's just call it 1,200 yards, and 14 touchdowns. This dude is productive. He's electric. He was productive with or without Cam Ward. He went out there and he played the competition that he played. We can't fault him for that. But he's not all production. He's measurables too. He's about 5'11", 190, so he's a little bit of a smaller wide receiver, but the guy can still get it done. He's got just crazy body control to be able to go up and catch balls and twist and turn in the air for contested catches. He's really hard to jam on the line. He's got really great release package. He's a lot of these younger guys in the NFL, a receiver right now. They're using a lot of like basketball moves to get off the line. He can do it really well. And on top of that, he's got crazy burst and speed around a 4.4 40, and it really shows up on tape. He really does play that fast. On the negative side, Kyle Williams does have a little bit smaller hands. It does lead to drops, and he's not really that great in his route running at the top of his routes. So he tends to round his routes a little bit or fade a little bit, and that can cause a lot of incompletions and maybe some interceptions if he's not where he's supposed to be and runs those routes crisply. With all that in mind, I mean, Kyle Williams is a great boomer bust potential because he's highly productive. He has a lot of great tools and traits, but he has some things he has to work on and some things he just can't work on. He can't work on his hand size. They're just smaller, and that is what it is. So that's where the boom and bust potential comes into play with Kyle Williams. Draft at your own risk, but I think this guy has really good potential to be something big. All right, last up is Oronde Gadsden, the second tight end from Syracuse. Now, Oronde Gadsden is like a tight end in name only, okay? He lined up more in the slot than anything else. Think of like a poor man's Brock Bowers. Now, we're like, well, we already have Brock Bowers. Well, we're looking at Oronde Gadsden. Well, dude, look, I'm telling you something right now. You can't have an entire offense run around one guy in the passing game and not have another guy that can do something similar. All right, because God forbid if something happens to Brock Bowers, you're having to like change around your offense, right? Oronde Gadsden, he can be that guy. Dude is 6'5", 245, and he plays like it. He plays big. He plays like a power forward out there. He's really good down the seams. He likes to box out these linebackers and safeties and catch contested balls, and he can definitely do that. The past 2 out of 3 seasons, he did really well. In 2022 and 2024 combined, he had 134 receptions for 1,900 yards and 13 touchdowns as a tight end. Well, a slot receiver / tight end, but tight end nonetheless. The issues we're going to see with Oronde Gadsden is the fact that he's not a very good blocker whatsoever. I'm talking like maybe even a liability. And also in 2023, he had a Liz Frank injury in his foot. That's something that's really concerning NFL teams out there. How healthy can he be with that injury? How long is he going to be able to play? And I don't know, man. It's going to be something that you're going to have to measure with your own doctors because the boom is there with his measurables and his abilities and his production. The bust is there because he can't do everything that you ask a tight end to do, and the injury history is kind of a bummer. All right, guys, that's my time for today. I really appreciate you guys watching. Hope you guys liked the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way for you to support this channel. It's absolutely free, and it's the bare minimum you can do to help support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing, just watching the video, which I do appreciate. All right, guys, that's my time. Appreciate it. Until next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.